research article. So now in the last section, you just need to move, okay, what is noun, and then move towards the unknown. What is going to happen? What's the advantage of doing all that thing? That you will going to split it into the paragraphs. If you convert your thesis into an article, that becomes very, very easy for you. If the same thesis is required to convert it into an article, and in the article they do not demand you more an introduction more than 500 words. Maybe they can accommodate you with 500 to 700 words, but normally it's always in range of 500 to 600 words. So what you can do, that you just need to simply exclude a couple of paragraphs from the center where you explain more about the disease and all that stuff, and keep the first paragraph as it is, keep the second paragraph as it is, and then you can just cut everything from the center, and then in the last you will have what is unknown. You can write down last, you can just include last couple of paragraphs, and that will be your 500 to 700 pages introduction. So that's that. If you write in that specific way, it will take only maybe 1 hour or 2 hours to convert the introduction of your thesis into introduction of your research article. In social sciences, although you're part of natural sciences, but you need to know that in social sciences they do not have a separate chapter like review of literature. In social sciences, they write down the review of literature in the same section where they write introduction. And I am sharing you one article. I'll remove that file and share it another article from. And this is an article I deliberately linked with this. That sometimes you require to work with something that do not have a huge significance. I mean, fungal infection, they do not cause any mortality. They do not cause any death. Normally, we consider them as benign infection. So sometimes animals, they become symptomatic, and then when their immune system boosts, they become symptomatic. In that case, when it comes to the significance, you do not have a lot of stuff to write on this. So in order to write those kind of introduction, the only way to start it that, okay, you start defining the problem, because here you do not have a lot of things to write in significance. For example, that if someone is working on some genetic disorders, when it comes to the economy, they are not very, very significant. If someone is working on a rare genetic disorder, that means that is not relevant for so many people. So here, when it comes to the significance, you have very few things to write on this. So at any time, that appears to be a problem for so many new researchers, that where they need to start their writing. So in that case, you just need to start from your second paragraph. That, okay, define the problem. That what is this problem? Rather than moving on with the significance, you hardly find anything from the literature. If the disease is not very widely distributed, if some genetic disorder is a rare disorder, in that case, you fail to find that kind of stuff. And then in the first paragraph, you just need to try to define into the problem, and then just classify the causative agent, and then give some information about all that. That's the background that is required. That's why another name for the introduction is the background. And then you move on to what is known and what is unknown. In that case, your significance, okay, you just need to, okay, it's a problem, but it cost of treatment, lack of control measures, all that stuff you can include in that, and then you just need to move it from noun to unknown. That's another way to write down an introduction where you fail to find lots and lots of significance. So what I want you to read different articles so that you will going to realize that what is important and what they need to include in the introduction. And now we're going to start on with the review of literature. The purpose of writing a review of literature is that in order to find what is unknown, you need to know what is already known on a specific topic. Because science is a systematic, research is a systematic investigation. So in order to find it, it needs background. So in order to find what is unknown, in order to go towards the research problem, it's a compulsion for you to discuss what is already known. And when you are going to discuss what is already known, then you will be able to identify the gaps. And those gaps, because some in the literature, when it comes to the publications, normally we have a separate kind of publications as review articles. In review articles, the researchers, they do not carry out any research, rather they write what is already known on the subject, and then they identify the gaps, and those gaps, they are available for everyone to explore. It's a time-taking process. It needs, you have to search so many articles, relevant articles, you have to read almost every relevant article. And a comprehensive review, if the literature is available, at least you need to consult about 100 research articles. So how to write a review article? With advancement, now we have the systematic review as well. That includes the data analysis, that complex data analysis. I'm not teaching you experimental statistics, so we're not going to discuss that in more detail. But one is your conventional review of literature of your research, and even the review of literature of your synopsis. So there are few ways to write down the review of literature. One way, that if you have already written the introduction, so in the next section, you do not need to once again introduce the entire topic again. Now you have to relate your review of literature with the introduction. That, okay, these are the people who have contributed significantly. These are the significant findings of those people, and this is how it worked with reference to the history. One very common way to start, okay, for example, if they were working on the sandfly or the cutaneous leishmaniasis, so very limited knowledge is available. Okay, it started from that species. That's one way to write. It's start from the, you just need to write down in history. Historical perspective of a disease. That's a one common way of starting a review of literature. Okay, that disease was discovered here. These people, they reported that diseases and blah blah blah, and then you back up with those literature. History that is being followed by the distribution of that diseases. You just need to mention that, okay, in this region of the world that thing was reported. So if you look here, these references are very, very old references, 1756. Because in the first paragraph, it was all about the historical perspective of the disease. So when you start from the time with reference to timeline, and you started, okay, when you start getting the literature, okay, from 18th century, we started knowing that disease. In 19th century, that thing has happened. So that makes you easier to start your review of literature, because you have already written the introduction. So you cannot introduce that disease in the separate section. Once again, you cannot write it again that, okay, this is leishmaniasis, how this looks like. No, these are not starting lines. Rather, another start to start the review of literature with reference to time. And then you keep on moving forward and forward and forward. And if you look here, these are all timelines. In the review of literature, you have to mention that who has conducted that research, where the research is being conducted. That's another thing. These two information, they are compulsory. When research was conducted, who conducted that research, and where the research was conducted. And what was the focus of that research? In the review of literature of so many theses, you will going to see a word like this. That author et al. Conducted their study on epidemiological profile of cutaneous leishmaniasis, and which technique they use? Molecular techniques in Morocco. And these are the major species they reported in that. And then you need to include that what was their major finding. So once you have written something like this, then you have to add that how many people they supported their finding. If you are working with a disease, another thing that there are two ways. So your historical perspective is going to stop in after a couple of pages. And now what you need to write? If you are working on distribution of a disease, you have to give the perspective of a distribution of disease worldwide. So there are two patterns to write down the review of literature. First, either go from center to outside. What do I mean by center is that, okay, there are two ways you can write down distribution of a disease. Either start from the neighboring countries of Pakistan and go towards the worldwide. That's one way. Or to start with worldwide and come towards the Pakistan. So in this research, they started from outside and they just start coming towards inside. So that's one way. Another way to write with reference to time. Okay. In 1996, that study was conducted. In 1997, that study was conducted. In 2006, that study was conducted. That's with reference to time. But writing a disease when someone is working on distribution is more appropriate to write with reference to the regions of the world. So start from outside. It does not make any difference whether the study was conducted earlier or it's a new study. Okay, just discuss that. Okay, start from the outside and then come towards the center. So it's Morocco. And then you will going to see another study from the Morocco. Africa. And then eventually it's all about American disease. You are coming from outside. And then you will going to see word like Ethiopia, once again, Africa. Ethiopia, Morocco, there are so many studies in that region. And then you can add words like this: Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt, Libya. These are all African countries. And then as you were writing the review of, okay, in Algeria constituted 90% of the cutaneous leishmaniasis worldwide, and that's once again. And then you are moving, you will going to see a word like Mali. Okay, is from Africa. And if you look here, if you go to the bottom, and then here you can see a word like Turkey. That comes closer to us. And then here you can see a word like Afghanistan. That's our neighboring country. And here some studies were conducted. They searched that study and they declared it as prevalence. Maybe I will have a state. And from neighboring countries eventually into the Pakistan. And they started from Balochistan, and then that is being followed because in Balochistan and KPK we have cases of cutaneous leishmaniasis. And these are refugee camps that may be in KPK. And then at the end, as she was working on distribution of cutaneous leishmaniasis in district Mirpur, so she left that portion. Okay, everything was known, but we do not know a lot about AJ, Azad Jammu and Kashmir. That's one way to write a review of literature, because the entire review of literature was focused on distribution. That was his topic. He never ever, in the review of literature, he never ever mentioned that which people they worked on that kind of diagnostic essays. These people, they developed the diagnostic essays. No information regarding the diagnostic essays, because that was not the scope of her thesis. In the review of literature, you will hardly going to find any information regarding whether it's on life cycle, because she was not working on life cycle. There is no information regarding the immune system, because she was not working on immune system. The purpose is to tell you that, okay, as she was working on distribution, in order to, she started her introduction with a historical perspective. After 1 or 2 paragraphs, she started explaining distribution, that what is already known on this topic. Okay, these are the findings in American region. These are the findings in African region. These are the findings in Asian region. And eventually, these are the findings in neighboring countries. And these are the findings that we already know with respect to Pakistan. And eventually, she stopped here, reporting maybe 1 or 2 studies from KPKB. And then eventually, she stopped that we do not know anything about our region. So she started from outside, and then she brought the topic deliberately into the inside and make a link to it. That, okay, these things, they are already known. As far as the distribution is concerned, these are the major players who just carried out all those discoveries, findings, and then ultimately, this is what is unknown on this topic. That's one way of writing a review of literature when it comes to the thesis. As far as your synopsis will be concerned, once again, you have to discuss both known and unknown, but review of literature of synopsis is not comprehensive. Normally, it has 3-4 pages. But the writing must be on the same line.
Sir, I have a question.
So yes, please.
सर, अब जब ये रिव्यू की बात कर रहे हैं लिटरेचर की, इसको रिव्यू करना है, जो इससे मुराद सर ये जो पुराने रिसर्च पेपर पब्लिश हो चुके हैं उनकी बात कर रहे हैं या बुक्स की बात कर रहे हैं आप?
Normally, you can consult anything. Even you can consult newspapers. There are many sources of review of literature. But normally, the one major source of review of literature is the previous research articles. But you can consult anything. You can consult a book, you can consult a newspaper, you can consult some thesis, you can consult research article, even you can consult another review article for your review article, for your review of literature. Because now you are discussing the work of others, what is already known. If already known thing you came, if it is coming to you from a newspaper, okay, report it. If it is coming to you from a thesis, report it. If it is coming from a research article, report it. If it is coming from review article, report it. So previous knowledge must be from other people, and it is most of the time they are previous research articles. But that's not a compulsion. Is it clear?
Yes, sir, clear.
One very important, it's a punchline, that do not try to be random with whatever research is being conducted. You are just trying to writing on. Okay, for example, if you are working on distribution and someone carried out a research on development of a diagnostic assay, you also included that research in your review article. That is not your scope. If you are conducting a research on distribution, search the articles that are on distribution and write down the review from those articles. If you are working on diagnostic assays, search articles that addresses those issues of development of diagnostic assays against a specific disease. ये नहीं होता कि जिसके ऊपर लेशमेनियासिस लिख दिया तो वही सारा आपने लिख दिया कोई किसी पे. Not at all. That's not appropriate at all. Is it clear? Anyone has any question regarding the review of literature, just feel comfortable and ask. I'm not telling you how to write down references because I will going to train you later on. But right now, I'm telling you how to write a review of literature. Please feel comfortable if you have any question so that we can proceed. Do you have any question? You have 1 minute to ask any question, and then I will going to show you my PowerPoints. Do you have any question? Now I'm switching to my slides. Is it visible on your screen? Synopsis.
Yes, sir.
Please mute your mic. There is lots of discussion. Thank you. Thank you very much. So review of literature. One thing, the only function of review of literature is to give you knowledge. What is already known? Because without knowing what is already known, you cannot decide what is unknown. And you cannot decide about those missing links in our literature. You cannot identify the gaps in our knowledge. Normally, it's time consuming, frustrating. Yes, it is true. You have to read lots and lots of research articles. When you read review, when you are writing review of literature, you just need to consider few things. I mean, one is always theoretical background. It clarifies the idea, and then it facilitates you to develop the research methodologies. First, when you will going to read all those literature, all those research articles, it establishes the theoretical background that of you, and you becomes more and more aware about the topic, and the ideas, they become more and more clear. But it also facilitates you to develop your research methodologies, because you will going to consider, okay, there are so many people who have adopted that kind of research methodology to do this. Another kind of people, they may have adopted another research methodology. And when you will going to read their articles, you will going to see their advantages and limitations of their research methodologies. And once you know the advantages and limitations, and then you will going to decide that what is possible for you. And that facilitates you to have the appropriate research methodology to carry out research. It consolidates the knowledge, and it integrates findings with existing knowledge and support or contradict. Because most of the time, when you are working, especially with reference to phylogenetics, as far as the distribution is concerned, there is no contradiction or support. Maybe when it comes to the distribution, maybe one person has reported that, okay, the disease has more abundance in specific season, while another person reported that, okay, the disease is uniformly distributed throughout the year. Maybe it varies from one region to another region, but there is not a lot of contradiction. But when it comes to the phylogenetics and all that modern kind of stuff, there are research that contradict each other. And when there is contradiction, that even facilitates you to explore that topic more. And whenever you see a contradiction in the literature, that means the science is not sure to this point that what is the reality. And that gives you a huge evidence. Okay, that's the gap. Because some people, they supported that theory, and other people, they just contradict to their findings. So to this point, the scientists, they failed to agree to a specific point. That's why I'm going to conduct that research to decide that what's going on in the population. For example, when I see that, okay, they want to see an origin of a disease, maybe one group of scientists, they work on it and they decide, okay, that disease got transmitted from dogs. And initially dogs were the original host for that disease. Another people, they use some other molecular markers and they decide, okay, it's the human that were the original disease and the disease got transmitted to the dogs. So if you are working with these kind of stuff, you're using those molecular methods. Your argument is always that, okay, as far as the previous knowledge is concerned, we have a disagreement. And to this point, we fail to decide that whether this is, so that's a gap. If you are working on taxonomy, so as far as the clear-cut criteria is concerned, there are certain species that for which we have a clear-cut criteria and everyone agrees that is a single species. But there are certain species, I can give you examples from my field that, okay, there is a mite, we name it as the Sarcops cabii. It's a host-specific mite. So for example, mites that are of origin from the dog fail to establish themselves permanently to the human, cause infection, permanent infection to the human, fail to cause permanent infection. So they have host specificity, they are specific towards dog. So in that, but as far as their morphology is concerned, they are morphologically identical. There is no clear-cut criteria. So there is a disagreement and there is a debate since 30 years in science that whether Sarcops cabii is a single species or different species. So if you are working on taxonomy, you just need to relate yourself that or review the literature, report all those supporting ideas as well as report the contradictory ideas. Because with the review of literature, you will be able to know that what are the things which are being supported and where we see all those contradictions. And from your findings, maybe you will going to support that idea or contradict that idea. Still, you have a lot of stuff to write in discussion. And these are being clarity, improves methodology, broadens the knowledge. These are all advantages. And what could be sources? I told you, books, edited books, journal, conference proceedings, report, thesis, symposium, websites, encyclopedia, blogs. It can be anything. Do not restrict yourself to the only research articles. The source can be anything, but most of the time, as far as the students are concerned, majority of the review of literature is being written from original research, main research articles. Do you have any question regarding this? Is it absolutely clear how to write a review of literature? I have an assignment for you people to download 3 review articles. Review articles of the field of your choice and try to read them. What I have claimed that, okay, in review of literature, they stay within the topic, they stay within those lines, and then they start from broaden to specific or from center to outside, and then they end it with what is unknown, gaps, identifying the gaps in existing knowledge, and read it. Because I do not have expertise on every field, so I do not know in what field you are interested in. So I really insist that please read 3 review articles. And also email me those review articles. Read 3 review articles from field of your interest and come to my class in next time, and we're going to discuss next. Do you have any question regarding this? If you have any question, just feel comfortable and ask. Otherwise, class will be dismissed in a couple of minutes.
सर मुझे ये बताएं कि कुछ पेपर्स ऐसे होते हैं जिनमें नई फाइंडिंग्स होती है और कुछ पेपर हमारे पास ऐसे होते हैं जिन्हें ऑलरेडी जो फाइंडिंग हो चुकी होती है उन्हीं सब को डिस्क्राइब कर दिया जाता है, साथ उसका मेंशन भी किया जाता है कि हमने इस आर्टिकल से लिया हुआ है। तो अभी जो आप बात कर रहे हैं वो उन आर्टिकल्स की है जिनके अंदर कुछ नई फाइंडिंग्स तो नहीं होती, लेकिन जो पहले से ऑलरेडी है उन्हीं को करके किया जाता है, दुनिया में मेंशन किया होता है उन्होंने।
And the articles you are talking about, they are review articles. And where we have original research is research articles. How to differentiate between a review article and a research article? If you go to the section of the methodology, materials and methods, in original research, they will tell you that which methodology they adopted. They carried out an experiment, they conducted a research, they carried out a survey. While in review of literature, they will give you an information that from which sources they have collected those information and which articles they have accessed, how many articles they have accessed, and how many of them they were screened and they were used in this research. So all those articles that just review the findings of others, they are review articles. While where you have a new research carried out, that's an original research article. I'm talking about the review article. Previously, I asked you to download 3 research articles. Today, I am asking you to download 3 review articles from the field of your choice. And then read it and just decide that whatever I have told you, is it true, in line with it, or is it different? Gentlemen, is it okay?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, I have a couple of minutes, so let me show you an example. What's the original research article and what's the difference between review of article? I'm just stopping the recording because lecture is dismissed, and then I will show you all those two different kind of